Premium only now. It's free.
It's premium.
What's going on? We got big Bats and Hardwood. We got three guys with their hats on backwards today. Again, the ultimate DFS uniform. This is what we're doing. I mean, I feel so uncomfortable in a hat backwards. I got to wear a collared shirt. Hoop, just beautiful tan today. I just want to tell you that. Those days in Vegas must have been wonderful. Maybe you passed out on the street. JSU, wonderful to see you. What's up with Maine, man? Did you go to Maine?
No, I did not go to Maine, actually. One of my there's a family friends, actually. Their kid is he's a hockey player for the University of Maine. So he's a junior or senior this year. But, yeah, he's a really good hockey player. So I rep the Maine wear because he just gives me shirts every time I see him.
Awesome.
But, yeah, that's the story.
Love it. Regret asking the question, but listen, let's move on. We got two big basketball games today. We have not heard anything about Bledsoe, have we? Is any news out there about Bledsoe, or are you still just questionable? All right.
So JSU,
yeah. JSU. Let's start with you here on Miami. I mean, this is interesting. Bam just went bananas. What do you have? A dozen offensive rebounds. You know, you're a little worried about him getting in foul trouble against Giannis. I don't know, but give me some broad thoughts on this game here. Game number 2, a game that Milwaukee. I mean, they got to pull this off, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big game. Coming into this series, I still thought that the best two teams in the East were the Celtics and then the Heat too. After that game, it kind of confirmed that, Milwaukee's just kind of behind the peg to me. Miami's just such a deep team. Bam had a really strong game. It was good to see him not get into foul trouble. He did a really solid job. Really, the Heat as a unit defensively did a really solid job handling Giannis. Because, I mean, you got to – when you're playing someone like that, it's team defense. It's not just always one-on-one. I mean, I saw possessions where Jay Crowder picked up Giannis and did a really good job on Giannis. But it's the whole team effort. And I just think the Heat up and down, they're just so strong. I really like them for the series. For DFS, I like these guys again today too. I think this game is the game to kind of target. Not that I don't like pieces from the other game. It's just if I had to pick one game to be a little heavier on, I think it's going to be this game. I do think that Miami has some, mid-tier pieces. I talked about Crowder a little bit. We'll get into it, but it's interesting to kind of mix and match because they really just have Jimmy and Bam at the top, and then everyone else is kind of spread out. Goran Dragic's price is starting to get up close almost. He's almost at that 7K range. He's 6,900 on DraftKings, where we were getting him to start the playoffs. Wasn't he like 4,300? Like the first slate hoop? Yeah, 40, this is 44. Crazy. So, and we all knew that was just a terrible price, right? That was awful. Yeah. But he's getting into that 6,900, 7K range. I mean, as he should be. So I like him again. But again, all these prices, it makes it tough. Do we spend up for Giannis? Do we play like the mid-tier route with Jimmy and Bam? There's a lot of routes to go here. So I'm kind of interested to see what, Hoop's cash take is because I want to see I assume everyone's just going to pay up for Giannis if they can, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm struggling right now, and I haven't really, filled out much information in my cores yet because I really have no clue what I'm going to do. And I guess a lot of it is going to be dictated upon what Bledsoe does, whether he's in or out. I mean, Bledsoe sat out last game. George Hill played 36 minutes and did absolutely nothing in those 36 minutes. But, I mean, you'd have to go right back to him if he's going to play the 36 minutes. There's a lot of different routes to go. That's the other thing I'm struggling with. Like you said, I mean, I've been trying every slate to get these studs in, and it's been pretty easy. But today – there's a lot of mid-tier guys I like. I mean, you have Bam and Butler. You have Chris Paul in the Game 7 who kind of turned it on at the end. There's another guy kind of in the middle I was interested in. So there's a lot of mid-tier, upper 7s, low 8K options where the decision's tough today. And like I said, a lot's going to be dictated on what happens with Bledsoe. whether he's in or out. The news yesterday was they had a light practice as a team, and he participated in that light practice. If it was a full go practice, would he have practiced? I don't know. Like, we're just not getting the information out of the bubble, and that's kind of, a concern that we all had going into this whole bubble situation. The information is just not, readily available. So we got the Bledsoe news very late in game one. I'm guessing we're going to get the Bledsoe news very late in game two, and you're going to have limited time. So it's very important to get with, in your lineups, have if then scenarios. I'm going this route if Bledsoe's in. If he's out, then I go this route.
So, well, what's the route then? Like, if Bledsoe's in, would you actually even play him? And second of all, who's the pivots there in cash if he is not playing?
Yeah, so I would probably not play Bledsoe if he's in, just because they're never going to – they never push Bledsoe, even in these playoff scenarios. The minutes probably mid to upper 20s. That's just not good enough in these games where you see these guys playing into the 40s. So I wouldn't play him regardless. If he's out, I'd definitely be back on George Hill with all those minutes. Like I said, he disappointed, but I'd be fine going back to him. I played DiVincenzo, and he didn't get a lot of run. Like, the rotations were kind of weird, so it makes it difficult. It would definitely be Bledsoe, and I'd probably find a way to get Giannis in there. I'd imagine he bounces back. Miami's a great defensive team, though, and I think JSU brings up a good point. It's not necessarily – in the NBA, the thing that bothers me the most, when people talk about defense, is like team defense is so much more important than individual one-on-one defense, help side defense, all that stuff. It's just so much more important. And the Heat are just a smart team, like another team like Boston, just a very smart team. They find a way to take guys' strengths away. Look what happens when, we talk about Ben Simmons a lot. Like when Ben Simmons faces the Boston Celtics, like, he is literally a terrible NBA player. Like, he is just not efficient. And the Heat are the same way. They can take guys away, but with their team defense. I do think Giannis is more aggressive there in this game. He got a lot of slack from not kind of taking over. So I think he bounces back. So if Bledsoe's out, I'd probably find a way to get him in my lineups.
All right, what are you doing with Bledsoe here in GPPs? Would you roster him? Would you have any exposure? And what's the pivot there, JSU?
Yeah, well, before I just get to that real quick, I just want to say, like, for Giannis, dude shot 12 shots last game. Yeah. He still almost had a triple-double. He had 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 18 points. He just didn't shoot enough. Like, he didn't attack enough as we would like to see, right? So if he's shooting in, like, that 20-shot range, that's going to be key. But the other thing is, with Giannis and with guys like Ben Simmons, you got to stop transition. You got to make them play in the half-court game. It's really key for them because they're not as good when they're not able to push the ball and run the court. When you stop them and force teams, and this is what happens in the playoffs, they force teams to play half-court offense, and it hurts a lot of these guys that don't have the ability to just create their own shot off the dribble. And that's the one thing Giannis can't really do. So that's going to be key. Can he get to the rim? I agree with you, though. I think he's going to be more aggressive. I think you're going to see, even if he misses a bunch of shots, they're not going to matter. Like, they're going to tell him to attack. And I think he does have a little better fantasy game today than what we saw last time out. I'm not expecting him to have another 47. I think he plays a little better today. But for Bledsoe news, I do think that for tournaments, he is someone you can look at his price. But I agree with Hoop. The reason why in cash you would never look at him is because they're not really pushing the guy. They're letting him play 25 to 28 minutes on the high end. And really, I've seen games where they finish out with George Hill. And I'm sitting there going, why isn't Bledsoe finishing out the game? It happened in the last game with Orlando. It was like, I was just confused. They didn't even bring him in. I don't know if in that game specifically he got injured, but I'm pretty sure there was another game in that same series where they finished out with George Hill and not Bledsoe. So it's really interesting. Now, George Hill's a veteran, so maybe they just like him. They trust him more at the end of games than they do Bledsoe. But that just makes me, a little afraid of him in general, right? But for tournaments on a 2-game slate, like, he's definitely in play. If you want to pivot, Tyler Hero is the pivot. And I played him last slate. It didn't work out. Guy had 11 shots, though. He went 3 for 11 from the field, played 29 minutes. The guy's getting a ton of run. And if you listen to Jimmy Butler, there were some quotes from Jimmy Butler today. I think it was a video. He was talking about, they asked some questions about Giannis and why they don't pick him up. But he also said at the end of the video, one thing that sets their team apart from other teams, including Milwaukee, is he feels like there are multiple guys on this team that could just drop 25 to 30 points. Like he feels like there's besides him, he feels like there's at least 4 or 5 other guys that could have huge games and carry this team, just like whoever's hot. And that's different from a lot of these other teams. That's why when I talk about Miami as a deep team, this is what I mean. Like Hero could come out today and he could be red hot from, behind the 3. He could drop 25 to 30 points. Duncan Robinson could have 8 threes. Bam could have a huge game. Duncan Robinson, like Jay Crowder, all these guys, they just have so many guys that can stretch the floor and get hot. Goran Dragic. So it just makes me like some of these secondary pieces that are like 5K, 4K in that range. I really like some of these guys. I would only pair 2 of them together. I wouldn't play Jay Crowder, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero all together because the chances they all get there probably are slim. But the chances 2 of them get there, I think, are very, very realistic.
Hey, well, first of all, you guys are lucky. You guys are lucky this is free because this is some top shelf stuff here from JSU. But Hoop, what else am I missing here? Did we cover this game, or is there anything else that we're missing in cash?
Middleton's still too cheap on FanDuel, like 7.5K. I think is a good price tag. But shooting guard's loaded actually over there. I mean, shooting guard is the most loaded position on FanDuel, so he's not a must, but he's a strong play. I agree with the Miami take. They won game 1. They're going to roll with that same rotation in game 2. It worked. Jay Crowder played 35 minutes. He didn't get there fantasy-wise, but, I mean, you give me Jay Crowder for his price tag, 35 minutes, I'm going right back to him. Tyler Hero I like a lot. I agree with in the tournaments, if Duncan Robinson gets super hot, Tyler Hero is likely the one that's going to pay the price and not get many minutes. So I wouldn't play like Robinson and Hero together. But Hero, I mean, solid 29 minutes in that first game. He has a nice price tag. The Bucks are playing fast, and you want guys going against teams that are playing fast. So I think the Heat probably might be my favorite team here to attack on the slate.
Anything else?
One thing too that was telling Hoop about Hero was in the fourth quarter when they did the whole rotation at the end. Hero was the last guy out, and then I thought okay, they have their starters in. He's not coming back in. And then they brought him back in with 3 minutes to go. I was shocked. Yeah. But that just shows you how much Spoelstra trusts Hero at the end of games. I was very shocked that happened, but that just makes me feel a little more comfortable, right? When rostering him, they at least trust him. He could play at the end of games. So,
he's better. I mean, he's a better ball handler. Like Duncan Robinson has to be hitting threes. If he's not hitting threes, it's kind of pointless out there. And he only shot the ball 4 times last game. So, maybe as the series goes on, things trend even more in Hero's direction. And by the end of the series, he's playing 34 minutes. Who knows?
Just last thing on this game, if Bledsoe plays today, and you kind of gave your cash pivots there, Hoop. So JSU, if Bledsoe does play today, I just want to go over this again with the Bucks. Who are the guys in GPP that you're looking at?
I mean, I think Connaughton is the guy for GPPs. Everyone's going to play Hill just because he got the minutes. But Connaughton got 25 minutes. That was the next best guy who got a minutes bump. It wasn't DiVincenzo, which I thought was interesting. I thought both these guys, and I don't know if Hoop has a different take on it, but I thought both these guys were going to see around 20, 25, maybe one got a few more minutes, but I thought they were both going to see around 20 minutes. I was shocked when DiVincenzo really didn't get a minutes bump. Connaughton got the big minutes bump, and even Marvin Williams, he got a minutes bump, or he was around 22 minutes, I think. I was kind of shocked at that. I don't know. Hoop, do you have a different take? Because I was surprised about DiVincenzo.
Hey, I thought he was going to be the guy, but clearly there's some correlation between his minutes and George Hill's minutes. They're not going to play those guys side by side. I mean, George Hill played 36 minutes, and clearly DiVincenzo was the guy that paid the price. He only played 14 minutes, and he wasn't bad when he was out there. He was aggressive, didn't shoot much, but 4 rebounds, a couple assists. He was active out there, but it appears that they'd rather have George Hill out there. And
do they just not trust him? Like that's
it must be.
Right?
Honestly, yeah, it must be.
He is so much more talented than George Hill. I didn't get it. I was shocked by that. George Hill playing 36 minutes. I was stunned. Never in my life did I think I was going to see him play that big of minutes, even in a playoff game, with Dante and Pat. And, they got other shooters, Matthews and Corver, that get some runs too. So I did not see 36 minutes out of George Hill. I don't think anyone saw 36 minutes out of George Hill.
They played a lot of guys. I think they played 10 guys in that first quarter. So that's not good for DFS when that many guys in a playoff game are seeing the court.
God, I love watching Jimmy Butler play. Here, I'm going to drop the F-bomb, so get your kids out of there. But this is a quote from Jimmy Butler. I'm so fucking locked in right now. I'll do anything it takes to win, man. I just love Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
this guy's awesome on and off the court. He says what's on his mind. How can he not be one of your handful of favorite players in the NBA? This dude's awesome.
Love
him. Love Jimmy Butler. All right, we got that game done. Let's get to the second one, guys. We got OKC at Houston. Now, I want to start on the Houston side with you guys. JSU, I want to start with you because Westbrook played 27 minutes. So in Game 6, and you talked about it. He could flirt with 30 minutes in that game, and he did. But, at this point, aren't the training wheels off? If Westbrook has to play 45 in a double overtime game, is he out there?
I don't know, man. The Westbrook I saw last game, I don't know if I want him out there at the end. He was terrible. 7 turnovers. Some of these turnovers too, you're just what do you do? He was just throwing the ball out of bounds to nobody. I have no idea. Obviously, there's some rust going on with Russell Westbrook. Is he still hurt? I have no idea. He kind of seems it to me. Something's affecting him a little bit. I think right now he's a clear stay away, especially if there's another quote saying oh, we're going to keep him around 30 minutes. If the coach was to come out and say, I'm going to let this guy play 38 minutes today, then I would totally understand in GPPs people wanting to take a shot with him because he's 8,900. But he seems injured. He still seems rusty, injured, and I don't think they're going to let him go big minutes. So from all those points, I'm just going to stay away unless, like I said, unless we get some coach talk about them just letting him go as much as they need in this Game 7.
He's not on your radar in cash, is he, Hoop?
No, what I saw, that made me want to puke. That was disgusting. It was terrible. And then at the end of the game, why is he the guy with the ball in his hand? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen with the game on the line. He's the guy, and he just throws it away like a terrible donkey pass. They're better off with him not on the court if he's going to be anywhere close to that. What we saw last game, just unplayable. It was a tough scene out there. But for DFS, it makes it easy because if he's going to play 5 to 28 minutes, that takes a few of those guys out of play that we would consider. So it kind of can lower our player pool a little bit. The guys I do like, I like Harden. If Westbrook's going to be that bad, I like going to Harden. And it depends what happens for me with Eric Bledsoe and like I said, the balanced approach is still definitely in play. But I like Harden in tournaments quite a bit. I think Giannis will be higher owned. I like going to Harden as a direct pivot. I think he kind of just takes the Rockets under his wings and does his thing tonight. I like Robert Covington a lot. I've talked about it a few times, and there's something about Russell Westbrook being on the court that makes Covington better. We talked about it early on, and it continues to hold true. His best games in the playoffs have been with Westbrook out there. Even in the bubble, have been with Westbrook out there. But Westbrook's gone for that stretch. He performed terrible basically every game. So I don't know what it is. There's something to it. So I like Covington. And then as a value, PJ Tucker, he's going to be on the court. They clearly want him out there. They like what he does. He gets those corner threes. He's if he's going to play 40 minutes, more times than not, he's going to grind you to some sort of fantasy point total that's not going to screw you over. So I'm fine going to Tucker in cash games, but that is about it. Just those three: Harden, Covington, and Tucker on the Rocket side for me.
All right. So JSU, who's viable on the Rocket side tonight in GPPs? I want to get your thoughts on Harden specifically first.
Yeah, I mean, I like Harden today. I mean, I just think that this could be one of those games where Harden just shows up and says, like, give me the ball and get out of my way, and does pretty much everything. Like I said, Westbrook, to me, there's no way if he's healthy, that coach isn't letting him play 35 minutes. So there's definitely something going on. So if Westbrook's smart, he should be trying to just let Harden handle the rock and kind of like space the floor and get out of the way a little bit. This could be a game where Harden drops like 40 or 50 real points, and I wouldn't be shocked. I expect him to be super aggressive, attack the rim. He's going to, get open. They're going to get open threes. Covington, I like Covington. Tucker, like Hoop said, those are two of the best secondary plays for the Rockets because they're going to get the open looks, right? And they're going to take them. I also think Daniel House playing 30 minutes. He's 5K. We've seen him before. He's active on the glass at times. He can make threes. He's another guy. He's going to get open looks. The guy who gets affected by the Russell Westbrook is actually Jeff Green. Like, Jeff Green is a stay away to me. Saw 17 or 18 minutes last game. Saw 31 the game before with Westbrook, but PJ Tucker got thrown out of that game halfway through it. And that's why he saw 31 minutes. So clearly, if PJ Tucker's not in foul trouble, then PJ Tucker is going to get the run, not Jeff Green. And so Jeff Green's the one who I'm kind of throwing out of my player pool. Now, I will say, if you are fading PJ Tucker and hoping, I don't know, he gets into foul trouble, maybe you play Jeff Green as like a pivot because you don't have PJ Tucker. But I would prefer PJ. I like that he's seeing 38 minutes a game. And I agree with Hoop. Covington, like, I don't know what it is about Westbrook being on the floor, but he's right 100%. Like, it has something to do with it because he's played a lot better. So, yeah, I mean, I like this Houston side. I think it's a little easier to peg, too, right? Because you get Covington in the mid-tier. You get PJ Tucker as a cheapie. I think Daniel House is someone you can look at. I would play two of those three, though. Again, I wouldn't play, like, all three of them in the same lineup. Those guys, I'd probably pick two of three. But, yeah, I mean, I like the Houston guys. I think the OKC guys are where we really have to make decisions because they got three guards. It seems like for the most part, these three guards are going to see as 37 to 38 minutes, maybe 40 in this big, game 7. I mean, you got to like two of them, I think, if you think this game stays close. Problem is which two. I think Schroeder is still underpriced. So I do like him, especially on FanDuel at 6K or whatever he is. And then SGA, Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul's clutch. I like Chris Paul. Like, I think, he could have a big game. SGA's looked a little rough the past couple games. Does he have a bounce back? I don't know. I've been going back and forth on those two guys because I do think Schroeder is definitely one of the guys I'm going to be heavy on today. I keep going back on SGA or Paul because I do want to play one of the other two. I just don't know which one.
Yeah, Big T loves Tyler Naquin in baseball. You love Dennis Schroeder in basketball. And Dennis Schroeder's a damn good player too, man. I mean, in real life, he's a good player.
He's a damn good player. He's dirty, and he does whatever it takes to win. And I like how he tries to get in Harden's head, even though it doesn't probably work. It's fine. I love it. I love it. I wish we could hear everything those guys say on the court. I would pay so much more money just to listen to every single thing these guys said.
You ever sat courtside?
That's the one. I've never sat. I've sat in the box. I've sat in all that different stuff.
Amazing.
Never sat courtside.
Nothing better than that. I covered a couple of teams where back in the olden days when Shaq was playing, they used to let you sit down on the court when you were a member of the media, and it was the most amazing thing ever in the history of the world. Now they stick you way up high, but damn, dude. Hey, you won enough tournaments this year. Go buy yourself some courtside. Hell, wait till next year. Just go to the crappiest team and buy courtside seats, and that's it.
I mean, they won't let me in the bubble right now, right? I'd pay a ton of money right now to get in the bubble to sit,
a lot of people
there.
Yeah. Hey, Hoop, on the OKC side, and really, JSU didn't bring up Gallinari. We're just throwing Gallinari out of the player pool. What are we doing here on the OKC side in cash?
Yeah, he's probably my least favorite out of the whole crew that was just mentioned. It appears that they're not going to push his minutes, and those other guys that are definitely going to push their minutes into upper 30s, maybe 40. He was playing really well last game and only ended up playing 28 minutes. He was hitting some shots early on in the first half. He's my least favorite. I like the price on Schroeder. Makes it he's easy to fit in, and you don't have to sacrifice much to get him in. So he's the one I'm probably most likely to play. It would probably be him and then Chris Paul. Adams was kind of tilting last game, really good, strong first half, and then kind of did absolutely nothing in the second half. So I'd rank it Schroeder, and then CP3, the two guys that I'm going to be looking at the most. Like CP3 kind of took over that game late. And all he needs, man, he's like the slowest starter, like in terms of like his fantasy production. He just kind of chills in the first quarter, and then he like kind of slowly builds it up as the game goes on. And maybe he'll come out more aggressive in the beginning of this game. But it's a good slate. These two games both should be entertaining, and the NBA product's been awesome. But for DFS, like I said, Schroeder and CP3 are my two favorite Thunder guys.
I think he like defers Hoop so much to these young guys. Like it's so clear. They talk about how he like takes them under his wing, all these young guards and stuff. Yeah. He definitely tries to like get them involved in the first quarter as opposed to like attack and get his. So that's one of the reasons I hope in this game 7, you're right, because if he comes out in the first quarter and he goes off, he has like a big first quarter. I mean, then that's going to be it. He's going to be aggressive the whole game, and that's what he should do. Really,
I agree.
this is it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else NBA, or we get to the baseball now? Beautiful.
Get to baseball.
Get to those sticks.
Oh, David Griffin he's in our YouTube chat. He offered to give us courtside seats at Orlando games. So there you go, JSU.
I'm in.
Does that? Doesn't he get like a free 6-month subscription or something?
Oh, he's in for sure.
Yeah, he's in.
Lifetime.
Hoops like life. Yes, if we get courtside
lifetime, guys.
We'll sign you up right now.
All right. Here's the deal. We got 60 likes, and I didn't even say anything about it. So JSU always comes up with a number for free swag, and we're about to get into the baseball side, so we got at least another 45 to an hour left. Breaking things down. So I don't know what the number is that you want to get to, JSU, but now we're at 63. So bang that number and one of you'll get some swag.
I mean, it's gotta be 125. We gotta get halfway. We got about 245, 250 in here. So let's get to 125. We can do it. Come on. Let's go. We got to talk some baseball now.
Yep. Well, we got 10 games tonight on this slate, and we got some really good pitching on this slate. It's always interesting doing the show with you guys like every day. There's no pitching, or there's all pitching, or there's no pitching. It just never seems like there's anything in between, and that's where we are tonight, right? I mean, we've got a ton of great pitching out there. So let's start with a game where there's not great pitching, though. What do you think about that? Kyle Hendricks has really struggled lately for the Cubs, going into Pittsburgh though, trying to turn things around. I mean, the Pirates if they're not the worst offense in baseball, I don't know who is. They're just absolutely brutal. They're going on the other side. You got the Cubs. Their offense has been picking up, and they're taking on Joe Musgrove, who really has not been good this season. He's got a 16% K rate. I know it's a small sample, but damn, dude, find the strike zone. Hoop, let's start with Cash. Any plays here in this game? What do you think about the Cubs?
The Cubs offense is certainly in play, and you get a good value in the lineup here. Steven Souza batting 5th. He's only 2K. I mean, so he's the minimum batting 5th in an offense that's projected to score 5.5 runs. So it makes it easy. This is another guy that makes it easy to pay up at pitcher. But their offense overall is in a pretty good spot. I mean, this isn't the greatest hitting ballpark, but they have a team total at 5.5. Let's see. They got Contreras is batting 2nd. So, like at catcher, if you're going to pay up, I think he's definitely a guy to consider. He's 4.8K. But, I mean, it's a good offense, one that I'll definitely have some stacks. If you're doing 20 teams, if I'm doing 20 teams, which I'm not today, I'm only doing like 4 or 5. But if I was doing 20, I'd probably have, 3 stacks with the Cubs involved. And then, Rizzo's probably the top first baseman. So there's a lot of options here, but the one that stands out, obviously, Souza's batting 5th. like I said, he's the bare minimum on DraftKings. So I'd imagine he'd be popular play today.
I was supposed to go with the pitchers first. Sometimes I just get so excited. I was so excited about the Cubs offense today.
No, it's all right. We'll just
go game by game.
Let's do it.
We can talk.
We're going to add pitchers in the game by game. Is that how we're doing it?
We'll just do it all. Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's do it then. JSU, Cubs offense tonight. Is it going to be chalky? And who are you targeting? And then, I mean, Kyle Hendricks got off a great start. These 3 starts have not been good lately, but he does get the magic here tonight in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I definitely don't like Joe Musgrove. I do agree with Hoop that some of these Cubs guys are definitely in play. They should be somewhat popular tonight. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't be. Personally, I just think this is a really solid matchup. I know the park's not great, but we said that yesterday, and, you know, some of those guys had big games yesterday. So I like them again. I agree with Hoop. They're in a good spot. Hendricks has a really good matchup. He's a guy who I hate rostering, though, because he's one of those guys who, to me, even when he has like a solid game, like just doesn't give you the strikeout upside that I look for in a pitcher. He had that one game at the beginning of the season against Milwaukee where he had 9 Ks, and he dominated. But outside of that, you know, he hasn't shown more than 6 strikeouts in any other start. All right, so it's something where 8,700. The price tag's not terrible. I'm probably just not going to play him, but you know, I could understand if people say weak matchup. You know, maybe it's a bounce back spot, but I'm not going there with Kyle Hendricks. Not today.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next game. And we got Tampa Bay and the Yankees starting at, 7:05 there. So this should be interesting on the Tampa Bay side. They've just completely, owned the Yankees this season. They're their daddies. I mean, there's no doubt about it to this point. And then on the other side for the Yankees, so you got Jordan Montgomery, first of all, against Charlie Morton. Let's get your breakdown of that, Hoop. Either one of these guys cash viable tonight?
I think Montgomery is interesting. I mean, he's not like a building block guy. He's a guy that if you land on him and he's in your lineup, like, I guess I'd be okay with it. I don't know. It kind of depends though, because we got to talk about the Washington Philly game with the weather and if Scherzer's out of play. I mean, he's only 10.4K on DraftKings, which is still, that's just way too cheap for him, but there is some weather. So, I mean, it kind of depends on that. Like, because I feel like I'd definitely be playing Scherzer, even in this tougher matchup. Strikeout upside is just too much to ignore. But if he's out of play, like a guy like Montgomery, I'd be okay with. I mean, this game just doesn't really interest me all that much overall. I mean, I like, offense is better than the Yankees. I think these pitchers are both, good enough to limit the other side. So the only play I see here would be Montgomery as like a last man in type of play. I wouldn't be building around him or anything.
Is this a good game from a GPP standpoint, or are you completely fading everything?
I'm, like I said, for the most part, I'll be fading this one.
Yeah. Sorry about that. JSU.
I have a very similar take to Hoop. I think, if anything, I would be taking like a one-off from this game. Like, I think, you could get someone from the Tampa side as like a one-off. That's cheap. Willie Adams at 3,900. I don't mind hitting 5th. But I mean, I don't love like a ton in this game. I just think you could take like a cheap one-off like Adams. But outside of that, like, I wish Renfroe was in the lineup. He's not. So I'm just going to probably stay away unless you want to get like a cheap outfielder. Like, you could take one of these cheap outfielders. Margot at 2,600 is fine. So, I mean, that's where I'd go. I'm not going to stack it though, either side.
All right, guys, we got the Mets and the Nationals. I know you both really want to talk about this too. So a couple interesting notes from the Philadelphia side, because they're facing Scherzer tonight, and they have the lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitchers. And the other thing, offensively, you got Hoskins with 4 straight multi-hit games and 3 out of 4 with a home run. So you got to think he's going to be popular, even though Zach Wheeler, who has really struggled against the Phillies lifetime. Remember, he's been in the division against Washington, I should say. He's been in the division for a long time. So we start with the pitchers here. Scherzer, Wheeler, Hoop, cash.
Yeah, I mean, Scherzer just too cheap on DraftKings. I mean, like 10-4. He offers the most strikeout upside on this slate. And the matchup's not the greatest. I mean, but that's fine. Like if he gives up a couple runs, you can still, get by with him. So I'm going to be on Scherzer in cash games, assuming this weather holds up. I mean, this is the one game with the biggest weather concern. So it's definitely something we need to monitor, as we get closer to lock, because it looks like, as this game goes on, the likelihood for rain increases. So, we'll definitely be monitoring it. We'll have our thoughts in the Discord chat as well, the baseball chat there, to give you guys more information. But, if it's good to go and we can play Scherzer, I think he's just the clear-cut cash option on DraftKings for your SP1.
It's no Hoskins. I just got something in the chat here that Hoskins is out today.
He's not in there. Yeah, he's not in there. So that helps Scherzer a little bit more.
Needed a rest day.
No, you don't need a rest day when you have 4 straight multi-hit games. You're hitting home runs after sucking. What are they doing?
No.
What are you doing, Girardi?
I liked them last night. I talked about it. I mean, that's crazy, but he needed a rest day. He might be a little sore after hitting so many bombs. I don't know.
That's horrible. What a horror. Actually, when you're playing so many games in such a small amount of time, I get it. But God, Hoskins was so bad at the beginning of the year, and now he's finally going, and they're going to sit him. So, I mean, this has got to bump Scherzer up big time. Yeah, JSU, this is beautiful.
I mean, Scherzer was my top pitcher going in. The questions with the weather and, is it okay? Like, if he's in, I want to pay up for him. Because like Hoop said, even though the matchup's not even as tough, obviously with Hoskins out of the lineup. But even so, like, the strikeout upside with Scherzer is just top on the slate, and 10-4, it's not like a crazy price tag. I can pay that easily. So I still like him as long as the weather's okay. He's going to be my top pitcher today. I mean, I think for cash now, if this game is a go, right, this is a clear spend up too, right, Hoop?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You lock him in for sure.
Yeah, I just went and laid a bet in now that I know Hoskins is out. I mean, come on, man. This is so ridiculous. It's amazing that he's gone tonight. Okay, whatever. Maybe something else is going on or he's just sitting. Who the hell knows at this point? I will say this. The Nationals offense outside of Soto and Turner has just been garbage this year, or at least recently. It's tough to watch them. It really is. So maybe Wheeler can get on track against the Nationals for the first time in his in his career, I guess. Next game to get to, if we got everything out there, didn't we? Good.
Yeah.
Atlanta-Boston, offensive festival here. Now, the Boston bullpen has been a little bit better over the last 10 days or so, but it's not been good from that side. It's been really ugly this season for the Red Sox. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. We know that, right? I mean, we're not gonna dance around it. Robbie Erlin, though, left-hander who really isn't doing much. And then, I mean, who's this liar jabroni that we're throwing out here tonight? This is, Robinson liar, and then they're backing it up with a guy that hasn't pitched in 4 years. What the hell, man? Are the Braves going to be chalk tonight, JSU?
I mean, this is much better chalk than the Cubs. If the Cubs are going to be chalk and the Braves are going to be chalk, I would much prefer the Braves if I had to pick between two chalky sides. But again, I kind of like both sides of this game. I like some Boston pieces too to throw in here. Like, I think Bogarts is a really strong option at shortstop. He's been playing really well of late. So I like him. But yeah, all these Braves guys, I like Austin Riley. We talked about him, 3,600, still too cheap. You got Ozuna, who's coming off a crazy game. He'll be popular. I like Markakis in the 4-hole. Yeah, I mean, I just think this Atlanta team, you got to find a way to be different. You got to stack it up a little differently. You can play Inciarte in like a wraparound stack. I don't mind that, hitting in the 9-hole. But yeah, I like this team. Freddie, I mean, like Freeman, if you want to spend up, like he's obviously a great spend up today. I just don't know how you don't play some Atlanta teams. Like if I'm playing, like I'll probably play 3 lineups. I'll probably definitely have Atlanta players on at least 2 of them. Like one will be a full stack, and then one will be, maybe either a mini stack or, like I said, some type of like bottom of the order, wraparound, something like that, just to be a little different.
All right, where are we going here with Atlanta and cash? You don't even think about it.
You're definitely Yeah, you definitely want some exposure here, and there's some very strong plays. Markakis batting fourth. He's really cheap on DK. He's only 3.6K. Ozuna, I'd imagine would be probably one of the most popular guys on the slate because of the monster game last night. If you're spending up at pitcher, I had mentioned Rizzo, but I definitely prefer Freeman over Rizzo. And we talked about it the other day. Did our boy Carmaggio hit a bomb, by the way? Remember last show we said he's definitely going to hit a bomb because I mispronounced his name.
I don't remember if Carmaggio did it. Johan Carmaggio. No, he did not hit a home run that night because I had
but he got some hits for us.
Yes,
he got 2 hits.
Johan Carmaggio plays with Willie Adams. These two guys play right next to each other.
Well, they sound like they play right next to each other.
But this is a good lineup because you can get unique. Like you can go to the bottom. These guys towards the bottom do have upside. Like I said the other day, like this is a lineup you can play all guys 1 through 9, and that's good for tournaments and DFS. I do like the Boston side. I don't think the Boston side will be. I mean, definitely it's not going to be as popular. Has the potential to be low owned, but like Bogarts, Martinez, Chavis, even Plawecki, I have interest in batting fifth. So there's the Boston side I think is sneaky. I kind of like the do a little game stack here, get exposure to both teams, and let it roll.
All right, this is going to be an interesting one. We did have a question in the chat about Ozuna. I guess we didn't bring up Ozuna enough. He hit 2 home. What was it? 2 home runs last night. He hit at least.
Hoop said he was going to be like the most popular play in this game, right?
No, but I'm talking about GPP. Like, where are you going with this? Like, he's going to be popular, so do you include him?
I mean, listen, I think you can include him. Again, though, like you could play. So, like, here's a way to be most Atlanta stacks, right? Everyone's going to play. Everyone's going to want to play Ozuna. Everyone's going to want to play Freeman. And those are clearly, in my eyes, the 2 best plays from this game. One way you could be different is, I'm not saying to do this, but you could play Ozuna, Markakis, Riley, Duvall, something like that, where you're nixing out Freeman. And if Freeman goes 0 for 4 or has like 2 walks and goes, has 1 hit and just has like an okay game, you're fine fading him and your stack guys go off. Like most people aren't going to do it. Most people, when they stack this game, are going to try and play Freeman and Ozuna together. And it works the other way. Like you could play Freeman and not Ozuna and stack, Enciarte, Swanson, Freeman, do something like that. Carmaggio in the 8, 9, 1, 2. Like people don't stack this way. They only think of it like, I have to have the 2 best guys in. But it's baseball. Like even the best players can go 0 for 4. Like we talk about this all the time. Like, so I don't know. That's my take on it. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to fade him, but I'll tell you right now, like I will do something like to be different.
All right, we need 36 more likes if my math is right. So hit the like button if you're watching this here. I mean, listen, you're right, WW Fresh. It's okay. When you win money like these guys, they don't have to pronounce the names correctly. That's my job. That's why they brought me on, just so you're like, who the hell is Carmaggio? How do I find this guy? He's not in DraftKings tonight. Willie Adamas. He's not on. Yeah, Willie Adams is not there. Adamas. You
start saying their names correctly, and maybe me and Hoop will eventually get it. You got to help us a little.
All right. Yeah, that's why he knows Carmaggio. He knows you. Now I can't even say Carmaggio's name because I want to say Carmaggio. Like, what's his name? Willie Adamas. Willie Adamas. And when you guys start talking about Urias, it's Urias. Now, you don't have to do the tongue roll.
That will never happen.
Let's go Urias. Right. Can you say Urias?
There's nothing that tilts the chat more than mispronouncing a name. You guys just you love to see it.
The prospect, the not knowing the prospects will tilt them just as much, I think. I think that was the most tilted I've ever seen the chat was when Tony didn't know that prospect.
What?
That was. Do you remember that when Big T didn't know the Oh. Yeah, that was a rough day for Tony.
All right, guys, 22 likes away. Let's get back to this. And hey, you guys would butcher names too if you were doing this. That's all I'll tell you. It's not that easy. The worst again though is tennis. It's just impossible. So we got at Milwaukee. I think a lot of guys on the betting side are looking at Detroit to actually win this game. Has had a decent season. XFIP wise is 3.78. Fly ball percent 18%. My goodness. Now lefties have hit him just a little bit better than righties, so they're going to go and probably throw a few more lefties in this lineup if they can. But that's from the Detroit side, and then from the Milwaukee side, I mean, garbage, hot trash. But it's not like the Milwaukee bats are anything special. Is there any way you go here in cash, Hoop?
So on FanDuel, Hauser, by the way. That was last show with Titletown. He kept calling the Milwaukee starter. I can't remember who it was. I kept calling him Hauser. It wasn't Hauser. It was someone totally different. It went back. He had the wrong starter the whole time. It was great.
Hold on, nobody corrected him?
Oh, he just kept rolling with it too. So I just couldn't bring myself to. It was what pitch?
No, you just gotta let him roll.
Yeah, we just let it happen. I mean, you and I were talking about the proper starter, but for some reason he kept saying he kept going with Hauser. It was great.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Right, so nothing much here. Maybe a FanDuel play.
Hauser 6K on FanDuel. That is an egregious price tag. He will be very popular. He makes it very easy to stack whatever offense you want, get whatever bats you want in there. So he'll be popular there. On the Brewers bats, I think are in play. I mean, they're going to have some cheap bats in here. I mean, Smoke should be in the middle of the lineup. I don't see the lineup yet, but he's 3.7K. Yelich is obviously a good play, but overall, like you said, their offense has been pretty disappointing. They're probably on my list 5 or 6 in terms of teams I'll be targeting tonight.
Where are you going with this, JSU? Is this a fade, or can you get a little advantage picking guys out from this game?
Yeah, this to me is I'm staying away. I'm staying away from the pitchers. Just like Hauser has been getting a ton of ground balls, but again, just like doesn't give me the K upside I want at 8,500 to want to roster him. You know what I mean? So like from there, I'm going to stay away. It's kind of the same thing with Turnbull. Just not enough upside for me at that 87. I'm pretty focused on like paying up at pitcher for a few guys and then, one cheapie. So that's going to be my strategy. I'm not I don't have a ton of pitchers in my player pool today. So I'm just going to stay away from the pitching side. And then from the hitting side, I think I'm just a full fade on this game as well. We have a bunch of other games to get to and bats that I like.
Okay. So then we got Cleveland and Kansas City would be our next game to get to. And we know that the Royals offense is struggling and they get to go up against this. You want to talk about prospect. McKenzie is just, he's got some nasty stuff. Tristan McKenzie, so far looking good. He's averaging 20 DK points, but he is coming off a start where he wasn't nearly as good, right? He gave up 2 runs in 4 innings, both earned. He walked 3 and he struck out 3. So you get a little bit of a mixed bag there. Jake Junis going up against this Royals offense. Going up against Cleveland, isn't he? Yeah, he's going up against this Cleveland offense. So, JSU, let's start with you here. I mean, is there any angle in this game? Is there any way you pick this is nothing more than a one-off, if anybody, right?
Yeah, well, first, I mean, I do like McKenzie as like a cheap SB2 at 6,700. He's a perfect guy where, like, at least at 6,700, I have some upside. He's shown the K upside. Now, he is a prospect, but you're right. He's got nasty stuff. I watched his 2 starts. I rostered him both times, so I was heavily invested in him. And at least, again, like I said, he's got that K upside. It's against KC. So I do like him as my SB2. I will have some of him. And then from the Cleveland side, I mean, I think you can play, some of these guys against Junis. Like, I don't mind picking off a few one-offs or in like a mini stack as well. If Reyes is in the lineup, do we have the lineup out for Cleveland yet?
No,
is that out?
I haven't seen it. No,
I haven't seen it either. But like, if Reyes is in the lineup, I like him. I'm sure Tony's gonna like Naquin if he's in the lineup. I mean, if he's in Tony's core plays, I'm gonna have to play a little Naquin at 2,500. But we'll wait and see. But I like taking some one-offs or a mini stack approach with against Junis. Like I think that could be something I do, but I'm not going to full stack Cleveland.
All right, so Houston and the hosting the Rangers, and the Rangers were just that was a bad beat last night. Allard, the left-hander, what's that? You say anything, or am I just like freaking out? Allard loves to give up hits and home runs. He's this is his favorite thing to do, and we know that there's some good bats. Brantley had a huge 3-run blast last night, so I wonder if he's about to get going here. And then on the other side, Javier and big strikeout pitcher, 25.6% is Javier. So does he have any cash value here, Hoop, just because of the matchup that he's going up against and the K props that he has?
Well, it's another guy that I just strongly prefer on FanDuel opposed to DraftKings. He's 7.6, I believe, on FanDuel, while he's 9.3 on DK. We all agree, I think, that you want to get up to Max Scherzer on DK, so that's going to kind of keep me off Javier a little bit on DK. But a strong FanDuel play at 7.6K, good matchup with the Rangers, has the strikeout upside. And then on the Astros side, I really like their offense. Probably my third, I'd say, favorite offense on the slate. And on DK, they're not expensive. They're up there a little. I mean, Brantley, for some reason, DK hates Michael Brantley. It is a lefty-lefty matchup, but he's only 3.3K on DK. That's a cheap price tag, of one that I'd be willing to play in the lefty-lefty matchup. But FanDuel, they're all very affordable. It's a strong matchup here. So for me, I prefer the offense and the pitcher a little bit more on FanDuel. Not saying that they're not in play on DK though.
JSU, what do you think about Javier, and then looking at the Houston offense tonight, which is in a really good spot?
Yeah, I agree with Hoop that on FanDuel, he's going to be a little more popular. He's a little better play over there. I hope on DraftKings, what that means is we're going to get less ownership on him at the price tag he's at, because I think he's still in play even on DraftKings against Texas. It's just a weak team, weak matchup, taking advantage of them. I'm going to continue to do it. So I'm going to play some of him. And then the Houston side, I'm with Hoop. I have them as my third favorite stack, on the slate today. So I really do like them a lot. Kyle Tucker, again, I'm going to go back to. But all these guys are really in play. The only guys I'm not going to probably play are these cheap guys like Brantley and Reddick. Like I'm going to stay away from them. Everyone's going to play one of these guys just because they're so cheap. So I'm going to make my stack a little different by not playing them. But for tournament. So that's my idea. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right, guys, we are 11 shy of 125 likes. You guys will get that in no time. So hit the like button. One of you guys is going to get some swag. Do we have any females that are in there? I don't think so. I think we're just a bunch of dudes right now. It's like the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Let's get some ladies over here.
I mean, we might have some females watching. There's some females that are a part of Rumpier Sports.
If we want females, we got to stop putting Big T's ugly mug on the air. That's not bringing the ladies in.
That's what's killing it. That's what's killing the ladies.
Yes.
Big T.
Yes.
The mojo.
Yes.
All right. Better mojo, I guess. Holden's gonna have to take that hat off.
I hope to God he's watching, man. I love poking at Big T when he's in the chat. If he's not in the chat, that was all for nothing.
If he's watching, he's definitely jumping in the chat right now. We'll know in about 30 seconds if he's watching.
Just Lord and Hoop. I mean, that was borderline mean. Oh,
you got to take digs at everyone. That's what you got to do. You got to take digs at everyone to work with.
Yeah. Well, I'm just stating what's mean. I'm not saying being mean is bad. I'm just saying that was mean. Who gives a damn if it hurts anyone's feelings? We don't care. Just win some money. That's all we need. Reynaldo Lopez. I think White Sox fans hate Reynaldo Lopez because he is a gas can. And he's got a 15% walk rate at this point. He's given up 44% hard hits. And he's going up against – now this Minnesota team's interesting. They had to have a team meeting and come from behind to beat the Sox the other day. I don't know what's going on with the offense at this point. On the other side, we know the White Sox have been putting up some runs. but maybe Barrios has turned a corner. His numbers are not good this season. So, JSU, let's start with the pitching. Either one of these guys, well, not Lopez, but is Barrios on the radar tonight? And then where are we going offensively with these two teams?
I mean, I think for tournaments at his price tag on DraftKings, I guess, you can definitely look at him at 7,900 at that price tag. I would much prefer him, and I think the upside he gives over the guys just above him in that 8K range. Pretty much all those guys in that 8K range, I would prefer him over. But again, I don't like attacking the White Sox. I just don't want to do it. Like, they've been so hot. But I still think you can do it if you're making a ton of lineups. I'm just not going to do it. I think the Minnesota side is interesting against Lopez. It's another spot, though, where I'm probably not going to full stack it because I just like Houston a little bit more. I like Atlanta a little bit more. And I like one other team that we're going to get to at the end a little bit more for full stacking. So they just missed the cut because I only make 3 teams. But if I was making like 10 or 20 teams, I would for sure have like a Minnesota stack against Lopez. So that's my thoughts on that.
Hey, Hoop, is Barrios anywhere on your cash radar? And then do you prefer either side offensively? Like, what are the cash plays offensively here?
Yeah, I definitely have interest in Barrios. 7.9K, he has strikeout upside. The matchup's not the greatest. Like that's obvious. But strike pitchers can overcome the bad matchups. You got these guys that can go out and get you 10 strikeouts. So I have interest in him. I have some interest in the Twins offense, and then kind of in the same boat as JSU. There's ones I prefer more, but like if I'm building a lot of teams, I'm definitely going to have some Twins exposure. Lopez is a guy that can get this Twins offense back on track. So from a cash perspective, it depends on the lineup, that we get. I think Kepler's in play. He's only 4.2K. If Donaldson's in there at the top, he's only 3.2K. So he would be a guy to consider if you need some savings. But I definitely have some interest in this Twins offense and Barrios as well.
All right, there's two teams here that are playing really late. One, I bet you, because I had to change my shorts when this came out this morning when I looked at Julio Teheran going up against the Padres. I mean, yeah, you guys are like both shaking your head. Like, how much exposure do we – cash, you got to have a ton, right? Now, the price is something interesting. JSU, I mean, how can you stack the Padres in GPP and not feel good about it, at least from a production standpoint, not an ownership standpoint, production?
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be one of your top stacks on the night against Teheran, and it's going to be interesting. I still don't see the lineup out, but, obviously you're going to want to have bats from this side. He struggles, mightily against lefties, but, I mean, he's just not very good in general. This is a spot where it's kind of like Atlanta, right? You got to find a few ways to get a little different. But I think depending on the lineup that comes out, I would assume like most of this lineup is going to be in play. I want to see what they do. Like, is Moreland and Hosmer going to both be in it? Like, how do they work those guys in? Is it just me one? But I'm definitely going to have interest in one of those guys because I can only play one on DraftKings. Now on FanDuel, if they're both in, somehow I would play both. But I think this whole lineup, like, you got to look at it. They're all in play for me.
Hey, a guy named Vitali, who's in the chat, wants to know if is there an argument for Hosmer over free money Freddie at catcher first base on FanDuel? What do you think about that? Yeah, tonight?
I think there's an argument against Teheran to stack up San Diego, maybe over Atlanta. Honestly, if you could only pick one and you thought both were going to be popular, I have them ranked as San Diego 1, Atlanta 2, Houston 3. That's how I rank them. So if I could only pick one, I thought both were going to be super popular, and I wanted to have like another lower owned stack with the popular stack, that'd probably be how I'd rank them. So I don't mind it today, honestly.
And yeah, David, you can go, you can go DH and play him out. Hey, real quick on the other side, is Lamet in your pitcher pool, and do you bother with the other side's offense? JSU.
Lamet. So yes, he's in my pitcher pool, but I'm probably only going to play him if we get weather concerns from Scherzer.
Okay.
So if I decide that Scherzer's too risky for whatever reason because of weather, then I will pivot to probably Lamet will probably be my pivot. But for me, if I'm getting up there, I'm probably just going to play Scherzer unless I go, with two stud pitchers, which if it's two stud pitchers, we're going to talk about the other guy in Buehler in a second. And I don't know, honestly, which one I would go with more. I'm leaning Buehler right now, but if I needed the 300 savings, I could see myself going Lamet. It just kind of depends what I want to do. But if I have the money, I think I would just go with Buehler and Scherzer if I was double paying up.
Hoop, Dinelson Lamet, is he a guy that's in your cash pool? Then how many Padres would you feel comfortable throwing in your lineup in cash?
So if I'm going double expensive at pitcher, if I'm going to go Scherzer and another expensive guy, Lamet would be the guy for me. I feel real good about him in this matchup. The Padres offense is probably my favorite on the slate. I always like these later offenses where the lineups aren't out until closer to that first pitch. The ownership always comes down on these guys. Ownership's going to be lower than it should be. So I'm gonna overexpose myself to the Padres, and I like the point that JSU made. Like if you're making one lineup tonight and you want to stack an offense, like Braves to me are going to be the most popular. And they're very similar to the Padres, and their ownership should be much lower. So I really like that move going to the Padres over the Braves. If you stack those two teams together, like you're going to be, doing the same thing that a lot of other people are doing. I think these are the two offenses that kind of stand out on this slate. But I'm going to have a lot of exposure to them. I like, getting way over the field in these spots. And the hope is, like I said, that, it's a later game. The lineup's not out yet, and maybe it lowers ownership, and I'm surprised. But Padres, probably when you take ownership into consideration, Padres are my favorite.
JSU, this is Big Bats and Hardwood. You want some Eric Bledsoe news?
Give it to me.
All right.
Give it to me.
No, it's a game time decision.
Okay.
Bud's hopeful he can return after missing game one. So he is a legit game time decision.
So basically the worst possible piece of information.
Correct. Yes.
We'll get it 15 minutes before lock again.
Right. Yeah. And hey, at least he's in the first game, right? I mean, at least he's in the first game. You can figure it out that way. Back to the baseball. Gentleman. Oh, Arizona at the Dodgers. JSU, before we get into any of this, Buehler and Gallen. I mean, Gallen's a legit number one. I love this kid. Absolutely love him. 26 or actually 27% K rate so far. He's off to a great start this season. And then Walker Buehler, I mean, they finally got him going. He got him healthy, figured things out for a start. He has a blister. Now he's coming back tonight. What about these two pitchers tonight?
Yeah, I think tonight for me it's Buehler over Gallen. I do agree with you, though. Gallen is really, really good. I do like him a lot, just not today. I'm probably going to be more on Buehler than Gallen. I don't like messing with the Dodgers. I much prefer, taking the pitcher against Arizona. So I think today Gallen's a stay away for me, and I'll be playing Buehler if I go double pay up at pitcher, or if I need a pivot off of Scherzer, it'll be him and Lamet. So I like Buehler today. Probably not going to have any interest in Gallen. Any interest in the Dodgers offense in a tough matchup? Because they like right-handers. I'm probably staying away outside of, like, you could pick a one-off. I wouldn't mind that, I guess. But I you could go – they're all just like Max Muncy. Like, if you wanted to go with him, I don't mind him as a one-off. But I'm probably just going to stay away from this game outside of Buehler as the pitcher. What's the cash take, Hoop? Anybody?
Same take is right there. Like, probably Buehler's in play. I don't know if I'll get there. I'd only get there, I think, if Scherzer is out of play because of weather. Sounds good. I agree with you guys, but I don't think this is the spot or the slate to play him in DFS.
All right, let's do some stacks, guys. Who's your 1, 2, 3? So the Padres and the Braves are what? 1, 2 for you. JSU, who's number 3?
I'm going to go with Houston as my third. I think Boston is a sneakier low-owned stack that I would add in there. if people wanted like a large field tournament stack, I think they're very interesting today as well.
Can you go into that just for a sec? Well, I mean, what about the Red Sox? Because you brought them up earlier, but tell me why.
I just think they're going to be overlooked, and from an ownership standpoint, they got a good mix of guys that, cheap guys, some expensive guys that you can kind of mix and match in lineups. And I just think they're going to be super low owned personally. I think everyone's going to play Atlanta and everyone's going to forget about Boston. And I just think it makes for like a sneaky play tonight against Erland. So I just think they're in a good spot.
Hoop, we got the Padres. Who's the other two teams?
Padres, Braves. I like Boston. I like the Twins as well. It's kind of sneaky. And I said I like Houston, but we'll say the Twins is my third.
All right, home runs. Who's going yard, JSU? Who's your home run call tonight?
So Hunter Renfroe is in the lineup, 3,300. That's going to be my one-off today. Hunter Renfroe hits a bomb. I like him. And then I'll give one more. I think Grisham goes yard as well. So I like him. 4K on DraftKings.
Trent Grisham. What about you, Hoop? Who's your home run calls?
I will go Springer. I'm going to go Justin Smoke, and then I got to go somebody. Say Mitch Moreland gets one for the Padres.
I got Yastrzemski, Conforto, and Garrett Hampson. Those are my three guys. Guarantee you 100% they're all going to go deep.
Did you figure that out just now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Rockies drive me nuts, man. I mean, I love this San Francisco offense. My God, though, the Rockies. Come on, guys. You're at home and you can't hit a friggin' home run? I mean, you can't get 6 or 7 runs for me? You're killing me today, guys. All right, let's go look back at this. Again, if you joined us for the NBA part, we didn't have the news at the time, but now Bledsoe is officially a game-time decision tonight. Let's find out the 3 names that the guys messed up. I think we're just going to do it at the end. I'm not going to bother correcting you guys because we're having – all right, so it's not Willie Adams. It's Willie Adames. It's not Carmaggio. It's Camargo. And then it's not Berrios. It's Barrios. Now, I know you're not going to bother with Barrios, JSU. You're not going to bother doing that, but that's fine. I just want to let you guys know Barrios, okay?
I think I said Barrios, right?
Well, you both did, and I can't imagine how you
Okay.
What were you guys saying when Yoenis Cespedes was coming into Major League Baseball? I would love to hear you guys just come.
Well, Barrios, we kind of have to get like the free pass on Barrios. You look at that name. And it's like Barrios.
That is so close, though.
It's not.
Like Adams, Adames, you want to say like that? That's rough. That's like quick glance right there. That's a rough one. And Carmaggio, that's rough as well. But the Barrios one, come on, no, I'm not going to change that. I refuse. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm sticking. It's
All
Barrios.
right, let's look. Did we get to one? Oh yeah, we got way over that. All right, let's go pick somebody out. Hopefully they haven't won already.
Pick someone who's not making fun of us for getting these names wrong. No. Find someone who is making fun of us. We'll give them some run for your swag. Change it up.
Do we have one that screwed up that was killing us at any point in time? I mean, I don't know. I don't even see it. I don't see anybody has busted our balls for at least 10 minutes on this. But I do want to bring this up that one of our guys was like, Hoskins is out because he's 0 for 17 against Scherzer, but Joe Girardi must be a BVP guy. He's just a BVP truther. And what are you doing? No, I don't. All right, here. Did Steve Anthony is like schlep rock. He's the saddest guy.
He's won before.
Okay, then I won't give it to him because he was talking about us butchering. I mean, I just wanted to make him a little bit happier.
Steve Anthony's the man. I like Steve Anthony. He's a cool dude. He's always in chat.
I don't like him. I'm just saying he's sad.
No, I'm just saying he's always in chat. I appreciate Steve Anthony.
Did Jay Reed win yet?
That's a toss-up. Jay Reed's always in chat too. He's another good guy. I don't know. Jay Reed, have you won?
Yeah, and then Craig Turner too. It's either him or Craig Turner's number 2. I do not hate everybody, Brandon. I like everybody. It's just Steve Steve, I want Steve to be nice. Just, hey, you guys are great. How about a compliment once in a while? That's all I asked for. Like,
no.
She didn't give me a
It's
compliment
okay.
for 10 years. I didn't deserve it, but that was it. We're done now. Just be nice some time. I do not hate him.
Jay Reed said, yes, I've won small swag. What'd you get, the small?
Oh, you got the small swag?
Did you get this medium?
Give him the real thing. Give him the real thing, then.
Yeah. Jay Reed won today. We'll give Jay Reed the swag today.
I mean, he can give the schmedium to like some homeless kid or something. You don't want it. You can't fit into that. Not a lot of people. You are even a medium, aren't you, JSU?
Yeah, I'm a medium.
Not according to Tony. Not according to Big T.
According to Tony. Oh, God, Tony.
All right, guys, let's get out of here. Good show. It was fun. Go win some money tonight for Captain back in the studio, JSU and Hoop. I'm Holden. And make sure you get in the Discord. Get in the Discord. Ask these guys questions. They like answering them.